Yesterday, Joe Biden made a pledge to reunite a divided country at a socially distant rally. But in Ohio, you know who thought this was a good idea to do in Florida last night. Take a look.
One thing with me, the nice part, I went through it. Now they say I'm immune. I feel so powerful. I'll walk into that audience. I'll walk in there. I'll kiss everyone in that audience. I'll kiss the guys and the beautiful women and everybody. I'll just give you a big fat kiss.
I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, more than 215,000 Americans have lost their lives. Numbers are back on the rise across the country. What makes him think this was the thing to do? And I mean, are we just drawing attention to something everyone knows he's already done? I mean, what do you think, Joe? It just made me crazy when I watched that.
Well, it's baffling. It is. It makes you crazy. Why is he putting his own supporters who would vote for him at risk? Why is he doing that? And why are they letting him do that? It's just a very, and you know, he knows that it's a dangerous thing because we know he knows it because we heard the tape of him talking to Bob Woodward. You know, they need to have a T-shirt that says, "I went to a Trump rally and all I got was this lousy virus."
It's really good. Good one. But I also said Ohio, apparently. I meant to say Florida. That's how verklempt it got me. It was too much for me. I mean, do you think his supporters are still taking such a risk, Sarah? I mean, can you believe that they're still taking these kind of risks?
I can't and I can all at the same time, but I saw a clip last night that actually kind of tells you why they continue to. Take a look.
A mask can actually do more harm than good to individuals.
It'll do more harm.
It can, because people can faint because there's too much carbon dioxide going back into their system.
What I can see, it's all the numbers that I've read have been down, and I'm seeing that the flu is taking more people.
So that's what you believe?
Yes.
Let me ask you this. If President Trump at the rally said, everyone put on their masks, it's good.
Put it on. Okay, so after watching that, I feel the need for a little public service announcement. This virus is 10 times deadlier than the flu. And by the way, this is from scientists and doctors. This virus is a matter of science. COVID cases are rising in 33 states, and Fauci says we're going in the wrong direction, and it's very troublesome. Masks save lives. And let me just say this once again to make sure they hear me in Florida. Mask saves lives. And when people talk about the flu has been a concern for years. You know what else helps you with the flu? Washing your hands and wearing a mask. So this brings me back to what I said last week when I said, I wonder how many people will take off their masks as a result of the president doing it when he stepped back at the White House. And that woman at the end of the clip pretty much tells you that if he put on a mask, they would too. So it all comes down to the biggest problem right now plaguing this country is the constant misinformation that has come from the White House, the administration, and the president himself.
When I was a little girl, if I had said something like that, if my mother said, well, if he tells you to put on a mask, will you do it? My mother would say, oh, and if he told you to jump off the bridge, you would do that too? That's what I want to say to these folks. It's like, what are you talking about? I mean, what did you think of this crazy scene last night, Cindy, when you saw it?
Listen, to me, it's a simple discussion. It's all about arrogance and ego. This is not presidential. This has everything to do with a personal agenda, and that's why we need a change. That's exactly why we need Joe Biden in the White House to stop this and act with character and dignity and leadership and empathy. More importantly, we've lost over 200,000 people in this country to COVID, and still he does things like this in Florida. It's outrageous.
Yeah. And Sonny, what did you say? I can hear you in my head, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway. What did you say when you saw that little scene?
Well,
what went through your head?
I just saw COVID Palooza. right? That's what I saw. And you know, to Sarah's point, we know that Donald Trump is the greatest source of misinformation in our country when it comes to COVID-19. And I think what was terrible was when he said he was immune to the disease. And the issue is that there is no immunity. Scientists know that there is no immunity yet. There's no evidence, science-based evidence for that. And I think that what is so dangerous about him saying something like that is that people will then not wear their masks, not socially distance. And the care that this president got at one of the best hospitals, military hospitals in our country, would cost the average American $100,000. The average American doesn't have $100,000 to get that care. And this very administration is trying to gut the Affordable Care Act, which is providing that type of health insurance to over 100 million Americans. And so when I saw that yesterday, I thought, oh my goodness, if someone gets the virus at that rally, they're never going to get the kind of care that this president got. And lives are at risk, and people could die just from attending that and listening to what he is saying. In fact, in Nevada, Whoopi, we just found out that a 25-year-old guy just got reinfected with the virus, and his second bout with the virus was much worse than the first bout. So, you know,
and for
I saw COVID-palooza. That's what I saw.
And we don't even know the long-term ramifications in regards to the lung, the heart, the brain. We're seeing a lot of fallout in what this means down the road, damages we haven't even seen yet.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, it's not pretty. And the other thing is, if you're not sure what this really means for you, and you've been to one of these kind of rallies, think back to Herman Cain. Herman Cain is dead.
Yeah.
Talk to your neighbors. Ask your neighbors, do they know people who have died from COVID? Because if you still think this is a joke, you need to be talking to your neighbors and identifying yourself in front of them, saying, I don't believe this is real. I believe that if you identify yourself to a neighbor and you discover that your neighbor's son's grandmother or your neighbor's husband, you know, if you say that to somebody who's lost somebody, they're not going to take it from you. This is my challenge to all of you people who go to these rallies. I want you to talk to your neighbors and ask them, who do they know that got caught up in COVID and maybe didn't make it? Because I don't know what else is going to prove it. Yes, well, you know, the people you're going to talk to probably are wearing their masks. So it would do you a great deal of good. But you won't listen to me, so I'll just let you handle it. But ask people how they feel about all of this.